And a happy belated birthday to you, Pep Guardiola, and welcome to the Miles Offside podcast with myself, Chuck Bailey, and super producer, Mr. Ian Stimson. How are you, Ian?
I'm very well. How are you, Chuck?
Doing okay. Fixtures went all right, I guess, 2-2 against Man City. Well,
yeah, you'd have taken that, wouldn't you, if offered?
Well, yeah, definitely would have taken it if offered. It's the problem, innit? And it's the perennial curse of supporting teams like ours that you can get results like that and be disappointed. It's really, really frustrating. This is the Chuck and Ian show this week. Miles Offside podcast is actually no more. Kicked it in, got rid of the shit muncher, and it's just the two best guys, really, that are left. No, Oscar has got some family commitments, and we wish him all the best.
He's cosplaying Chewbacca at a Star Wars convention, isn't he? Or something like that.
He's LARPing his way around.
And he doesn't need a costume, because he can just go in what he sleeps in.
Yeah.
Just massive layers.
Do you think that then promotes the hair growth as well? That's what it is. It's like an extra hibernation, or would the opposite work and it turns out that Oscar is hairless? These are the things people tune in for.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm now worried that I haven't been sleeping like Oscar does, and that's why my hair's going at a ridiculous rate. Should I have been hibernating like some sweaty Chewbacca?
I think just keep adding layers, mate. Keep adding layers.
It's that race has run. It's done. Forget about it.
Well, in Oscar's absence and in his honour, we will be continuing on as best we can. Just we'll actually understand what the other one is talking about and not have mass confusion over things like hundreds and thousands. But we will start with Oscar's favourite ever segment, known as Rapid Fire News. Our top story on the absolute cut and thrust of football podcasting. The Firefest organiser who almost blew a guy for a case of Evian water is now the new face of Evian.
Oh.
The man himself, Mr. Andy King, who shot to fame as the guy who openly admitted that I literally drove home, took a shower, drank some mouthwash, and got in my car to drive across the island to take one for the team. I got to his office, fully prepared to suck his dick. I mean, the timing on this is just, how did we manage this, bringing this guy up? And lo and behold, we're influencers, Ian. That's what it is.
Clearly, and you're obviously very excited that Teacher isn't here, and you are using this as a reason to go with a dick-sucking Netflix thing as top story. I mean, this is your dream, isn't it? This is what you've been waiting for.
I feel like the last year and a half has just kind of been culminating in this moment. And the fact that it is I think it's like the anniversary of that documentary. And so now that he is the face of Evian, they've gone with the slogan, so good, you do anything for it.
Oh, that's genius.
Absolute genius. We love you, Andy King. I guess, I don't know, Ian's inspiration. Next story. We did say that we weren't going to talk about Peterborough for a little while, Ian, but on Saturday night, Peterborough, he's the owner, right? Darragh McAntony?
He's a co-owner now.
Co-owner.
Other people have come on board, but he's still chairman, but he's joint co-owner with two other people, yeah.
Right, okay, so we all love a bit of social media, and Darragh has come on Saturday night to say, let me break my usual Saturday silence to answer the critics / experts.
He's never silent on Saturday. He says that he's always silent on Saturday, and then he has a few beers, and he gets like, I never, on a match day, I never tweet, I never do anything. Bullshit.
Is he one of these people who has a couple of spritzers in his anybody's?
Yeah, I could well believe it, yeah. I love the man. All of this, whatever comes after this is caveated by the fact that he has kept us afloat for years, and I love him. But, yeah, that was the first thing. There's no Saturday silence. That's bullshit. Carry on.
Okay, thanks, mate. To answer the critics / experts, I have so much confidence in manager, staff, players, that if we don't achieve the playoffs this season, I'll step down as chairman. Thumbs up emoji at the posh official, hashtag all or nothing.
Did he hashtag all or nothing?
He hashtagged all or nothing. So first point, is this a precursor to an inevitable Amazon TV series? And also, are you quite worried that you're going to be without a chairman when you don't hit the playoffs this year?
Yeah. Well, first point, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that Peterborough have done an incredibly embarrassing behind-the-scenes documentary. We had Big Ron Manager in the 90s when Ron Atkinson was in charge for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was, because it was Barry Fry as well, wasn't it? So, to the fat bastard in the blue blazer.
Jeez. Good old Bazza. Always got a bet on. Yeah, so it wouldn't be the first time that there'd been a documentary. But what is he thinking doing this, right? We have, I think, scored 1 goal in the last 6 games. And we... Don't laugh. And
Sorry, involuntary.
Broke our transfer record for a striker and refused a £4 million bid for the other striker. And we can't score a fucking goal. It's shocking. But yeah, why has he tweeted that?
It's pretty bold. It's pretty bold.
It's ridiculous.
To proper put your cock on a block. But I mean, he has only said chairman. So, when he's the owner and he does what he wants, he'll just go like, well, I'll just make it mega chairman. That will be my title.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, like I say, I find it hard to criticise him. I like the fact that he's on Twitter and he's really open. He chats with fans. Sometimes he argues with fans. He does Periscope videos and all sorts of weird stuff, like live videos where he takes questions and stuff. The access is really good to Dara, but stuff like this is the flip side of that coin. You're just like, why are you painting yourself into this corner? This could backfire horribly and looks like it will. And it's just, either way, you're embarrassed. You either do it and then sort of, like I say, genuine custodianship of the club, which has been great, sort of ends on this weird sour note, or you don't do it and go, oh, well, yeah, I just talk a lot of shit on Saturday, don't I?
Yeah, it had his absence has been notable since that was his last tweet, since anything.
Was it? Yeah, right.
Shout out also that something that I noticed, and sorry about this, Ian, having a quick look about Darren McAntony, was that on the 4th of May 2013, Peterborough were relegated to League One after losing to Crystal Palace 3-2 on the final match of the championship season.
Oh, fuck. I didn't realise that. Okay,
Peterborough's total of 54 points during the 2012-13 season is the highest by a relegated team in championship history. So,
that feels very Palacey as well.
That is very Palacey. We are, we're the joint leaders in the Premier League of being relegated with the most points. But we were when it was 22 teams.
Yes.
And West Ham have it for 20 teams, I believe. So there you go. All losers together.
Feels about right.
Well, something that broke this week, and is kind of an interesting one based on the kind of big focus on mental health, is that the Scottish FA have pretty much decided to ban children from heading footballs. They're ready to go on this kind of as quickly as necessary, but the idea would be that they would ban children from under 12 from heading the footballs due to the links with dementia. Obviously, this is something that's been covered with various documentaries. I think Alan Shearer did one, and there's big analysis into the fact, especially back in the 50s and 60s when the balls were a lot heavier, well, not even that far away, but ex-players ending up with boxer-style injuries to brain or dementia. So do you think this is a good thing, or is it kind of something that could end up starting a kind of nanny state revolution of, oh, no one's allowed to head a football?
Well, I think when you're talking about, you said up to 12, is it, yeah?
Yeah, under 12s.
Yeah, okay. So, there's all the evidence is that the brain is still developing sort of well beyond 12 even. I mean, this just sounds like good sense, to be honest. I mean, like you said, the old footballs, and specifically as well, they used to soak up rainwater like you wouldn't believe. I mean, they'd get 3 times as heavy with rainwater sometimes. Those balls.
You'd know, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I used to make them. But like Jeff Astle was like the guy who scored loads of headed goals, and the doctors reckon that his dementia was a direct result of how many times he'd headed a football. There's plenty of evidence about this. And US soccer changed it as well, didn't they? Where because a lawsuit was filed or something, wasn't it? And so they limit like the number of times a player under 17 can head a ball or something. I don't know how that's done in real terms, practical terms, but yeah. I mean, this just sounds like good sense to me. All the evidence points that there's a genuine link, and when you're a bit older, you can make the decision about the risk and just like avoid the football like the plague, like I used to when I played.
Yeah, and I think you're right that it does make sense. And the Scottish FA's Dr. John McLean has said that there is no firm evidence linking heading the ball to the disease, but you can't wait for the evidence one way or the other. So take some sensible, pragmatic steps, which I think makes sense. But what is weird is I don't ever remember being allowed to play with a proper football under 12. Like, it was always under head height, or, at school you had to have those horrendous foam balls, and there was no way you were heading them anyway, because you'd just get a face full of muddy water.
Yeah,
great. Or you had penny floaters.
Penny floaters, yeah, of course, yeah. Well, yeah, if one of those came in contact with your head, you wouldn't even notice, would you?
Yeah, forget about it, especially when everyone was doing their best Roberto Carlos impression.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't even have to worry about that, did you? You'd try and hit it straight and it would just fly off in whichever direction a soft summer breeze was going.
Absolutely. Well, he featured today in the football, today as we record, of course, on a Sunday. Unfortunately, having a bloody goal disallowed. Bast! Oh God! Let's not. I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it. But footballer Roberto Firmino on the 14th of January, which was my birthday, guys. Happy birthday, me!
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Was baptised in his own swimming pool, quoted as saying, "My biggest title is your love, Jesus." This is from evangelicalfocus.com, who said that he was baptised in the presence of his teammate Alison Becker. Tons of people all around wearing these shirts that have like a cross and equals love. Destiny, he should have scored a header. Crosses, he loves crosses. He was playing the Red Devils this weekend. I don't want to get into it, guys. He was baptised. He was bathed in the light of God. He should have scored. But anyway.
What went wrong?
Yeah, I know. But the question is, does this mean if he was baptised in his own swimming pool, is that like holy water?
Well, yeah, I suppose the whole swimming pool would have had to been blessed. It's just got anyone who swims in it is immediately bathed in the light of our Lord.
Ah, that's fantastic. I mean, it was an emotional affair. There were lots of people there. There was a gospel singer. Alison was there in tears, and actually one of the people that helped to put him under the water when the time came to wash away the sins, etc. And I mean, he'd been named best goalkeeper of 2019, of course. And I didn't realise that both himself and Jurgen Klopp, massive Christian, is apparently an outspoken Christian, and quoted here as saying, "Jesus is the most important person in history. To be a believer, but not to want to talk about it. I don't know how it would work." Literally never heard him mention Jesus.
Never mentioned it before.
Never mentioned Jesus.
This is he's hedging his bets with this title race. Well, there is no title race, but he's found God just in case, hasn't he? There's a name for that, the atheist's bet or whatever it is, Pascal's wager or something like that, where you just why not just say you believe in God, and even if you don't, because an omnipotent being wouldn't know, would they? Fucking
no, but Christ. I just wonder if those two also have like a real connection and they just follow each other with everything, because
of course,
Firmino becomes a Christian, Jurgen Klopp, massive Christian, Roberto Firmino gets some big white lovely teeth. Jurgen Klopp gets some big white lovely teeth at the same dentist, so,
far be it from me to have a go at your good self, Chuck, but
right.
I'm just a little bit worried that the news sources of, when Oscar's here, it's sort of BBC, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now it's evangelicalfocus.com.
Yeah.
Everything all right, mate?
The problem is that Oscar can't work the internet very well. So, because he only works in like basic letters, that's why he goes on the BBC website.
He was looking for something else.
Of course. And our final news story, again, is it news? This one's from the Manchester Evening News. So there you go. Another source, tick. Harry Maguire has been appointed as captain of the Manchester United team. Do we think this is a bit ridiculous from a guy who's been there about 5 months and isn't very good?
I know what you're saying, but I'm not sure it is that ridiculous, because I don't know where else you look in the Man United team. They previously had Ashley Young as their captain.
Yeah, so this is what is quite interesting. And another thing is maybe it's a poison chalice, because they had Ashley Young as the captain. He's now gone to Inter Milan. Last club captain, Antonio Valencia, released in the summer. Club captain before that, Michael Carrick, retired the following year after being made captain. Wayne Rooney left the club. David De Gea, not very good in goal anymore. I I mean, I get it, and it's the kind of not having that leadership thing, and it's something we've picked up on with Man City quite a bit. But do you think, therefore, that the days of actually having a club captain and like a real stalwart leader position is something that these big clubs aren't really that focused on anymore?
I think that it is strange because it feels like, and I don't know whether that's because everything's super sanitised with social media and everything, but it feels like there is a lack of captain-like characters in the game that there wasn't before. Like a real lack. It seemed like most teams would have some sort of leader who would like scream and shout at everyone and be able to, get the team going. But I'm not sure that's a thing anymore as much as it used to be. In that it's far rarer to get a captain like that these days. I mean, who in the Premier League could you say is that sort of personality captain? You've got Troy Deeney.
I was going to say, he's kind of the perfect example. By the way, This is Rapid Fire News is finished now. So,
oh, right, we've transitioned, have we?
If you listening at home just wanted to check, that's Rapid Fire News. If you want to go back, see how that fares up with Oscar's sections, fine. Go ahead, do what you want.
I think it's unfair to tar Oscar with that brush. But anyway, go on.
Rapid. I did enjoy doing the vocal fry, I must say. Yeah, I'd say Troy Deeney is, because he's like known as Mr. Watford. He's an absolute unit, embodies all of the horrible, scroty nature of that club, and their new mental manager.
Yeah,
but it does seem to be that it's the teams that are lower down that focus, because obviously Arsenal, we had that whole thing with Granit Xhaka, and now it's just Aubameyang, but you don't really see him as a leader. Man City, they've given it to David Silva, but really only because it's his last season and he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Tottenham, well, Harry Kane, I can kind of see why, but obviously I think it's meant to be Hugo Lloris, so that's not so much. And then Man United, they've dashed it around to loads of different people, but then at the other teams, you've got people like Troy Deeney. I won't say Luka Milivojevic because I'm not really that bothered, but no. Jordan Henderson, it seems like he's like a proper kind of captain figure around it. I don't know, I think it's just this atmosphere that gets given off, and it seems to be that it's diminished in value for the bigger teams.
He's an interesting one as well, though, because do you pick someone for their character, like Jordan Henderson, who I think has definitely been picked for his character, when he's not even playing 100% of the time? Like, he's not first name on the team sheet. He does get rotated, Jordan Henderson. So how much... Then someone else obviously gets the armband for that game, but how much sort of leading can you do when you're not playing, or when you're playing sort of maybe 75% of the time? So it's a strange one, Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, it is true, and I think that's right, because you also look at like the positions of the player. It seems more like he could be a captain, because I think when it's a midfielder, it's like you have a hand in everything. When you're a goalkeeper, it just seems like you're too kind of out of the game, and same for being a striker, because you're very much focused on what's happening at either end of the pitch.
Yeah.
But I suppose, yeah, you're right. And Solskjaer even said the reason is because of his impact in the changing room, and that's why they went with Harry Maguire. But it just seems strange, especially when it's such a new player to the club.
I just think it's dearth of options, to be honest.
Yeah, they are proper garbage. But we mentioned Watford, and obviously that's where the game week started for this week. Didn't really get going for quite a while this week. I mean, we were discussing off air before, and it was an absolute draw city. So, I mean, at least there was some goals, but not in a Watford-Tottenham game of a pretty drab 0-0. Bit of a shame, really, that it never got going.
Yeah, I mean, I think we hope that this might be a bit interesting with Watford's resurgence recently, and Spurs looking. Surely they've got to be looking for some big result to, get them out of this funk.
It's got to be like. They made the signing Jedson Fernandez on an 18-month loan from that team. Research. And so that's kind of Mourinho getting his own way a bit. But as Oscar's kind of alluded to in the past, and we've all seen, like, he does love to shit things up a bit at his own club just so that he gets a bit more money on it. And so you wonder if that's the case. Spurs did come off a bit lucky in this one after the penalty miss, which would never have banked on Deeney missing that penalty.
No.
Ever. Especially after, at the minute with the run they've been on and him just hammering balls in. Like, he scored a massive just thunder bastard last week against Bournemouth. If you can say it's a thunder bastard from 9 yards out, but a pretty soft penalty and a good save from Gazaniga as well. But their combined XG for this game, even though it was 0-0, there you go, Oscar, one for you there, was 4.0. So there should have been 4 goals in that game, and there was none. And it just feels like we've all been robbed a bit this week. Robbed of goals, robbed of points. I hate fantasy football.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Okay.
Sorry, mate, we will get there, though.
Yeah, please don't, mummy. And then, so that was kind of followed up with another load of draws. We had Arsenal-Sheffield United at 1-1. Was that really a surprise?
No, I don't think so. I'd actually bet on a 0-0 for that one. I thought there was going to be nothing doing at all. And there wasn't a great deal, to be honest. I absolutely love Wilder coming out afterwards and still managing to be pissed off. Like, just consistently annoyed at his team, even when they're getting a point off of Arsenal.
I mean, the mentality of that guy is fantastic. Yeah. Like, you cannot fault that. And people like that are the reason, these kind of things become successful, be that, if you start your own business, if you have a product, if you run a football team. And the fact that they've been promoted, they were in League One a couple of years ago. Were they in League Two? I don't think they were that
I don't
far
think
down.
they went that low,
no. But it's not been that many years. And now you're in the Premiership for the first time in God knows how long. You're 7th. In January, end of January now, well, mid, and you're pissed off because you're getting draws against Arsenal, who are below you in the table. It says a lot. It was buried quite towards the end of Match of the Day and just never really got going. But in terms of just to link it a bit more to FPL, has the Sheffield United train kind of changed with which players to go for? Because we were on kind of Lundstrom for a very long time and Baldock, and now it just seems to be that guy Fleck. Just popping up with goals everywhere.
And he seemed surprised by it as well. Like, he was like, I don't score, I didn't score many in the Championship. It wasn't really part of my game, but he's just getting on the end of stuff at the minute. Yeah,
he's very much always popping up in the box.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Sheffield is they probably because they're scared, they don't stop running. They harass constantly
because they're scared of Wilder. Is that what you think?
Yeah, that's what I think so. Yeah, I fucking would be. He's just never happy with you, whatever you're doing. But yeah, their industriousness is quite something. It really is. They don't ever stop, and they don't seem to be. And why would you be this season? But they're not cowed by Arsenal or coming up against a team like that.
No, but no one's... Yeah. I don't think there's anyone that's shown that team a respect whatsoever. And I think that has been a kind of thing in the last couple of years, that there's... I think with Wolves doing very well last year, and then obviously Sheffield have done really well this year, and even Aston Villa, who are way down there, who remain in the relegation zone after their 1-1 draw with Brighton this week. But the amount of goals they've scored is quite high. Like, they've scored 29 goals. Which is the same amount as Southampton. It's, way more than Palace. Actually, 4 more than Sheffield United themselves. But they're way down because of their defence. And so, obviously, that's where the problems lie for that team. But I think when you're scoring that many goals, it also shows that there's a massive change now and a kind of disruption into these teams that come up having absolutely no fear and not respecting teams like Arsenal and acknowledging when there are results and points to be taken.
Yeah, I think I know you sort of have a running joke of the and we change it all the time, but the homogenous blob of shit that is the mid-table of the Premier League.
Amorphous blob. Amorphous void of bullshit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it changes every week.
Yeah, why not?
But like that is true. The amounts of money that come from like the broadcasting thing constantly going up from different sources and stuff means that you can get your West Hams and your Evertons and stuff spending ridiculous amounts of money on players. Like, they're in the race for big players, and the top 4 isn't a closed shop anymore.
No, not at all.
So, they can potentially entice players with thoughts of Champions League football, maybe. And that has all sort of filtered downwards. And yeah, clubs like clever attacking teams like Sheffield United, anyway, with decent tactical managers, there's absolutely no need for them to be scared of clubs like Arsenal that are sort of on the wane from that sort of top four situation they used to be in. And it isn't working out for Villa and Norwich, but even Norwich have shown that they can beat Man City on their day. So there's no need in individual games for teams to be cowed by what used to be great teams like Arsenal. And that's going to hurt some people hearing that, but it's true. Adam used to be great. And I didn't want to single out Adam, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, why not? We always do. He knows by this point, to be fair, it's kind of implied.
But yeah, I think it's great to see a team like Sheffield United give it a go. It gives us all hope, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And it's funny you mentioned before about the money coming in, and something that was released last week was the Deloitte money report of kind of the financial earnings from last year for all of the clubs around the world. It seems like the kind of thing that I should have done research for and maybe would have been in Rapid Fire News, but fuck it. And Wolves were very, very high up because their revenue last year, because of how well they did, was 170 million. Barcelona, obviously way up the top on 730 odd million. Real Madrid follow up, and then Man United below that. And they kind of filter down then. But to be that high up, and I think the 7th highest club in the Premier League, thus getting Europe and those kind of things, it kind of shows the prize that's there as well and that it's worth it.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are a bit disparaging about the Europa League place and whether teams actually want it or not, because it can cause problems next season. But of course they want it. If not just from a financial point of view, clubs definitely want it. Players want to play in Europe, and especially players who play for teams like Wolves. They want to get in Europe and they want to do it again and again.
Yeah, just once I'd love Palace to be in that. Like, I don't care. And that's why all the Wolves fans must be absolutely loving it, especially, how well they did through all of the group stages, even when they had the fixture congestion and the qualifying rounds and everything. They've done an amazing job. So I can't wait to see how that goes. And you can tell because of the way they played, like, they just don't know. Bloody Wolves, like, don't go ahead against Wolves in anything earlier than like the 92nd minute. Like, just don't do it, because they'll just get angry and play. And Southampton found that out this week. Obviously, they went 2-0 up and looked like they were golden in the first half. And then Wolves just came back and just blitzed them, absolutely blitzed them. The Southampton defence looked all out of sorts, and Jimenez and Traore ran the show again.
Yeah, Traore's having a hell of a season. Because, Jimenez has been a little bit up and down. Although Match of the Day showed a graphic of his goal involvement. Now, obviously, he's had a lot of games. I did think at the time, I was like, well, that's slightly disingenuous because Wolves did start playing in fucking August or whatever. But as in, like,
I knew what you meant, just you picked the wrong month.
I did pick the wrong month.
Yeah.
Had a lot of games. But anyway, Jimenez has been a little bit up and down in the Premier League, definitely, but Traore is just something else this season. He's fucking huge, and he can run, and he can actually keep the ball now as well.
Yeah, and he's got a lot more patience to his game. Before, it was once he beat that person, he would just spray the ball like it didn't matter.
Right.
I can't remember if I said this before, but I saw him play when he was playing for Middlesbrough. Against Palace, and I was, at first I knew how fast he was and what his kind of record was in I think he played in Portugal, I'm not 100% sure of that, but anyway, in a different league. And so I was expecting, right, you can't be right up on this guy because he's always going to beat you deep, and then obviously he would do that and beat men and then just spray the ball into anywhere but the goal. Like, it was instantly no fear, and you could see why the defenders didn't really mind if you gave him the ball. Whereas now, and especially I think for the third goal, his hold-up play and his intelligence was so much better because he knew he could draw the players out, bite it back a bit, drag in one more, and then play a perfect pass to Jimenez, who shouldn't be unmarked on the centre circle, on the penalty spot, to slot it away for Wolves' third. And it's just fantastic. Like, that club, I was down on them a bit last year, but no, fuck it. Like, that's a fantastic story and a fantastic example of what can happen. Yes, of course, with a bit of money, but what Premier League club doesn't have money?
Yeah, exactly.
but just the ambition and the desire, and good on them, because they, it's not just a flash in the pan. They got their last season and got the Europa League spot, and now they're up there again.
I think there was in this game specifically as well. There was a bit of Southampton sort of going, "Hang on, what the fuck are you doing? Don't you know we're on a brilliant run and we're 2-0 up?" Like they really did sort of seem to not be able to. Certainly Traore didn't seem to. He was playing like centrally, wasn't he?
He was kind of chopping in, but staying more on the right.
Right, okay.
And Jimenez was kind of drifting out a little bit with Jota as well. And so they were kind of interlinking quite well. But most of the goals came straight down the middle, actually, which, like I've said before, with Palace conceding that goal against Arsenal, like, it's a bit worrying when teams can just cut straight through the middle of you. Yeah,
true. They did seem to stand off a little bit. I think it was
hugely
Neto's goal where he sort of miscontrolled it, and he seemed to have about 5 minutes to reset himself and stick it in.
He took it down in the box, didn't he?
Yeah.
No one closing down. Yeah, you're right. He miscontrolled it, then gets it under control, can take another touch, and then slot it.
It was sort of like, come on, someone do something here, because there's no one else around that's going to cause a problem. So you can close it. You can close this out. No, didn't do it. So it was just sort of. I think there was a little aspect of Southampton taking their foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah, it's good to see that there is still some elements of the old Southampton there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be a shame if they were completely revitalised. But I think it was just a shame, really. They came, obviously they've been on a very good run, beating teams that you would traditionally think were much better. And then they come up against Wolves, a team where traditionally you might think they had a chance. It's just like, no, they've got mental strength like you wouldn't believe, and they just... I think Nuno said, yeah, some words were said at half time. And it's just like, yeah, I bet they were. But it seems to have sorted them out. And it was a real good performance from Wolves. It was impressive stuff.
Absolutely, in the second half. And it's, hopefully this dip in form can continue just a little bit longer for Southampton. Sorry, Raf. Because their opponents on Tuesday, speaking as well of coming from behind, Man City 2, Crystal Palace 2, at the Etihad. Oh, that was nice. It was a good time.
Oh, your boy, Tosin.
I mean, I called it. I'm just going to say, we hadn't scored from a corner the whole season. I think even from a free kick, like a knockdown or anything.
Yeah.
All season. And I said before, the reason when Benteke was good, and he still can be good again, is that we have to play to his strengths. And the way we used to play... wing play, crossing balls in, he's the main man, lovely jubbly. So finally we get a player with a bit of confidence who's fighting with something, put crosses in, Gary Cahill, back post, Cenk Tosun, front post. Thank you very much. Then give Sergio Aguero the ball. Yeah. So that wasn't a very fun minutes. 5 minutes, sorry.
Fun minutes.
Fun minutes. I think it would have been pushing a bit hard to expect us, even a team with such an elite defence as ours, to keep a clean sheet against Man City.
Yeah.
It was a bit disappointing to see the manner in which kind of Aguero was kind of left to do his thing a bit, I think, for both goals. However, 82nd minute, you've been ahead for... it was before half-time, it was like the 30-something minutes. So when you've been ahead for almost an hour... mentally dealing with that barrage of City players and having everyone be a threat, you can't really blame anyone that. But, we spoke about it with Wolves, the drive, the desire, the fight. And that's exactly what Palace had, and that's what Zaha had at the end to beat Stones, who he had a good measure of for most of the game. Stones not having his best time, but managing to force the error out of Fernandinho because he knew Connor Wickham was right there and nabbed something at the end, which is fantastic. And I think it's deserved. I think definitely, especially as Man City have been a bit, if we look at the league table, they've definitely been out of sorts for them.
It was disappointing when the second goal went in, just because obviously... I'm mates with you as a Palace fan. It was just like, oh, fucking hell, because I know exactly what
they were. Very rapid fire. They were 4 or 5 minutes apart. So yeah, but that's what teams like City do to you, and that's what they thrive on. And it's just this time it didn't work out because we managed to get the error. Earlier on, there was the penalty decision. Well, potential penalty decision with Zaha on Stones, which I can see why it wasn't given. Zaha kind of runs off the ball in the box to initiate the contact with Stones, but I think it's one of those ones where when you watch Zaha play a lot, people on BT Sport were all saying, well, no, he's run away from the ball, he's got nowhere near the ball, but he very often does quite a big weight shift to one side to then flick the ball behind his other leg. To kind of change direction very, very quickly. It's often what has got us penalties in the past because of the timing of it, that he does that change of direction and then goes straight into someone else's legs, but it was a bit earlier there, so I'm not going to be too aggrieved about that, especially as Milivojevic wasn't on the pitch, so we wouldn't have scored it anyway.
Irrelevant. Yeah.
Yes. But no, lovely, another draw to add. I think we've only lost one game out of the last 10.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, there was the loss against Derby County. Let's not go into that. It's a lot of draws, mind.
Yeah.
So we lost to Liverpool, fair dues. Beat Burnley, Bournemouth, drew with Watford, drew with Brighton, lost to Newcastle. Beat West Ham, drew Southampton, drew Norwich, lost to Derby, drew Arsenal, drew Man City. So, yeah, it's a 9 out of 10 games, but it's about 8 points, which isn't great. But anyway,
okay.
Enough about that. Do we have? Were there more? Oh God, there's another draw. West Ham. Oh, Norwich Bournemouth. Let's talk about Norwich Bournemouth.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they are awful. Both teams are horrific.
I mean, that does constitute talking about them, Ian.
It does. I am talking about them. Yeah. I'm upset. It was a waste of my time. It was a waste of everyone's time. They are terrible. Both teams are terrible this season.
Yeah.
Just simple stuff like Pookie was put through for a one-on-one and just sort of popped it along the floor, nice and easy for the goalkeeper to get. And you think, put Aguero in that position, 99 times out of 100, that ball's going in.
Put Timu Pookie about 16 weeks ago, and that goes in 100% of the time.
Absolutely, yeah. So something's happened, but I mean, Bournemouth looked terrible. I know you massively enjoyed Steve Cook's save.
It was, that was a fantastic save, I'm not going to lie. The athleticism, he was on the ground. He's on the ground, a 35, 34-year-old man, I think.
Yeah.
Getting up, having the cat-like reflexes to tip that one away. The fingertip strength. Save of the season, yes please.
And I can't accept then Eddie Howe saying, "Oh well, it's one of them things. It's instinct."
He didn't mean to do it. It was instinct. What? He's not a goalkeeper.
He jumped off the ground and saved the ball. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's just a fucking moron.
Yeah, if that's his instinct, you shouldn't have Ramsdale in goal. It should be him because he's better than what you've got. Giving
away a penalty and then knowing that you're going to be 10 men, it was very poor. But anyway, it was funny and it was a great save. It's an absolutely brilliant save.
Yeah, it's not what a team like Bournemouth need. We mentioned club captains. I'm pretty sure he's captained the side.
Yeah.
So, pretty disrespectful there. And then there was the checking of the monitor.
Yes, there was, of course, for Norwich's red card, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was Godfrey.
It's a weird one, this, with this VAR thing and the screen at the side, because obviously, we all know that they get, the referees get directives specifically at the start of the season, but then maybe through the season. It just feels odd to me to sort of, there must have been something at the start of the season. There must be a reason why no refs have checked the side of screen monitor.
The big thing they had with it, right, was always that it interrupts the flow of the game. Having a ref run over to a screen interrupts and disrupts the flow of the game. But how is seeing action on a pitch more disruptive than everyone standing around not knowing what's going on and having someone that is not in the situation actually referee the game, which is what they always said they didn't want. They didn't want the referee to be undermined or his authority to be undermined, and that's all that's ever happened.
Yeah, 100%. It makes me wonder what was said at the start of the season that meant they didn't go and do it. Like you say, it must have been that. But then no referee wanted to do it. So now they've put this directive. And is it just for red card decisions or have they been encouraged to do it?
That's what they were encouraged to do. I think after, because obviously it happened with Palace in the cup. And then So then kind of the median incident of this was that with the Aubameyang one, where it happened with Palace, but it was over the earpiece.
Yeah.
And so after that, they then said for the potential yellow card change to red card one, which is strange because that's a rule it's kind of a law that's kind of arbitrary, but not, because it's based on perception. So if it's not, where does this then come in with that muddy, clear and obvious error kind of phrase, which isn't clear and obvious? And it's the same that you have linesmen, the linesmen or assistant referees, that are still actively encouraged, do not put up the flag, let the play go on completely to allow a team to score a goal, then raise your flag to then see what happens afterwards. And so now you've just got this extra kind of layers of everything that is what is truly making everything a lot more disjointed, which they didn't want.
But it was the right decision.
It was. Nevertheless.
Yeah, it was the right decision was came to. That was definitely a red card. VAR did all right this week, to be honest. There was not any big problems, to be honest. I think the right decision, except for maybe, we'll come to it, I think. But let's
go to it now. Which one? What are you thinking?
The Van Dijk and De Gea.
Oh, Firmino's goal.
Firmino's goal, yeah. So you'll remember that.
So what was it? A push on De Gea?
So Salah sort of spoons it up in the air, and it's coming down, and it looks like De Gea is going to catch it, but Virgil van Dijk is going for the ball as well, and he is going for the ball. He's got his eyes on the ball, and it's not like his hands are sort of flailing up or his elbows are going crazy, but he does knock into De Gea in the course of challenging for the ball, and it's hard to call it a foul, I think, but that's what VAR said it was the reason that the goal couldn't stand.
Well, we've had that before with the whole looking at the ball, and in fact, you and Oscar disagreed with me when it was the Michael Keane penalty.
Yeah.
They were looking at the ball the whole time, and as he's going for it, stepped on the foot. But something with Virgil van Dijk, he's an incredibly physical presence.
Yes.
And I've seen videos, I think when he was with the Netherlands team, that they're in a gym and one of the players runs along and tries to, with his hand, slap like a sign in the air, and he can't reach it. And the guy's like, he's not very tall, but he's not like super short, can't reach it with his arm in the air jumping. Virgil van Dijk heads it.
Right.
Like, the guy has got a massive vertical leap. So I can imagine that if he's got that on a keeper, it's probably very easy to look like, oh, he is out muscling them or fouling because he shouldn't be able to get there, but he is. I don't know.
Yeah, fair point. But, Roy Keane and Graham Souness were absolutely furious, which was hilarious. Anything that annoys them is fine by me, I suppose. So
wait, were they both furious for the same reasons or opposite reasons?
Yeah, no, they were furious for the same reason.
Aggressively agreeing.
Patrice Evra was in the studio and was just going, clearly on the wind-up, was just going, yes, foul. That's a foul. And Souness and Keane were just exploding. It was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I hate Roy Keane. I think he's a knob who's just doing his own character now for...
Oh yeah, he has been for years.
Oh, God, but anyway, it was funny to watch because Evra was just didn't give a shit. It was just like, no, it's a foul. And even though I was disagreeing with Evra, I was like, yeah, that's brilliant. Keep winding up Keane and Souness. That's great.
Well, as we are there, Liverpool have gone even further clear. What is it now at the table? 1 billion points. They are 16 points above Man City with a game in hand. 30 points ahead with a game in hand of Manchester United in 5th, which has got to be pretty good for you Liverpool fans out there enjoying that. I doubt any of you listen to us. That's the sad thing. We've finally come around to Liverpool and we've probably lost all of you.
We've alienated the Northwest a long time ago.
It is fair, to be honest, if they hate us. But another commanding performance, really. Pretty solid. What is that, 6th clean sheet in a row? Finally, you bastards. Again, fancy football. We'll get to it. Do you think this is Liverpool kind of shutting up shop to get the job done and probably conserve energy for the Champions League games, which are next month?
It felt like they didn't have to really get out of sort of 4th gear. They didn't need to. I mean, there was a period where Man United were knocking on the door, and you thought, oh, you should have closed out one more of those chances. And the relief was clear when Salah did. Route 1.
Yeah, from the goalkeeper.
Route 1 assist from Alisson. And, lovely old job. Shirt comes off. Loses a point for fantasy football.
Naturally. Allergic to bonus points, that guy.
He's absolutely allergic to bonus points.
Absolutely dodges them like the plague.
Yeah, but the relief was palpable. It was because there was a period where you think they are going to rue those missed chances if this carries on. But yeah, they seem to have become a lot more defensively solid. And like you say, I mean, they're just going to close it out now. They don't even have to win anywhere near every match now, but they're going to want to, obviously. But yeah, I can see them conserving energy for Champions League stuff now. This is exactly what we thought Man City were going to do this season.
Yeah, it's just we just got the wrong team, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they are still massively overperforming in terms of points, which I know will be to Oscar's chagrin. They're on 64 and they're supposed to be on 46, but the goals scored and goals allowed down numbers are moving closer to kind of together. They've only scored 5 more and conceded 6 less than they were supposed to. So, but they're still now, especially, like so defensively solid again, and it's something that was massively missing at the start of the year. So, Klopp must have worked very, very, very hard on that to kind of bring that back. And what stood them so well last year, I think it's just that they don't need to blow teams out of the water now. They just don't. They're doing the Leicester grind out 1-0, 2-0 wins, and jobs are bloody good and fair play to them for getting to the position in January where they can do that. I'm going to keep saying January until it's February.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
A moment of silence for Leicester.
Yeah. Oscar's loving this. I mean,
Oscar's favourite team, and I mean, cue the jingle.
Oh, they're better than they ought to be.
Burnley of the week. Burnley gone Burnley. I mean, not by a hell of a lot. They got 1.2 XG scoring 2, but Leicester 2.07 XG plus a pen and only scored 1.
So flipped on its head.
Yeah.
A good traditional Burnleyan.
Good traditional Burnleyan. Jamie Vardy. You naughty sausage.
Just peppering this FPL stuff all the way through.
There's a lot of disappointment for me this week.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Burnley for getting their first win, apart from, of course, beating Peterborough since mid-December when they played Bournemouth. So that was, 4 losses, and they were getting very, very close to the relegation zone, especially with Watford kind of coming out of it. And it's still so truncated down there. I mean, from one week to the next, who knows? Bournemouth are doing their best to try and sort out at least one of the relegation spots, as are Norwich. And we couldn't go, it's not West Ham, Everton, blah, 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 1-0, 1-1, sorry. But we couldn't leave this one alone because my boy, my one, my true, Alan Saint-Maximin, with a wonderful cross in.
Oh, it was a cracker. Bang,
leaving Arisa Balaga in absolute no man's land. Because he's terrible.
Terrible.
It cost
terrible
£72 million. Because that's why you don't buy Basque players off of Atletico Bilbao, baby. Because they overcharge for nothing. And Isaac Hayden nods it in. Newcastle 1, Chelsea 0. Oh, that's why he's not here this week.
That's harsh.
It is harsh. We were obviously texting throughout the time, as we do, and he was just saying, Chelsea are looking good, we're going forward, we're going to score. And I said, so this has 92nd minute sucker punch written all over it, right?
Yeah, you did.
And nailed it.
Yeah. It was an entertaining 0-0 even before the goal. I thought it was quite a good game. I saw some people say it wasn't, but...
Yeah, I saw the highlights. It did look quite energetic. And Newcastle... there were all the videos going around of Alan Shearer dancing around, doing a little tippy-toe dance. Riding high after their dismantling of Rochdale in the FA Cup third round replay.
Yeah.
during the week, and kind of fight into the end. Like that's what the Premier League should be about. Not looking at all of those results and seeing draw, and not, not much going on. But those last minute kind of goals that make us absolutely love football, and it's all its bastard footballness, and especially when it's Chelsea losing.
I can see why Oscar was
absent this week.
Not absent this week, but rightfully not happy, because I think Chelsea, they really should have been able to dispatch that team, no problem. It's the same thing, I think, of taking of chances, which is a little worrying.
Yeah, and it's just that cycle happening again of these teams just not wanting to seize the opportunities of actually getting something. Chelsea 7 points in the last five games. Sorry, Man United 9 points out of the last 5 games. Tottenham is 5 points out of the last 5 games. Arsenal is 6. Like they're not making progress. Any of these teams, and it's just everything's just kind of drifting along like a piece of drifty driftwood.
It does seem like a bit of a race to mid-table. I'm surprised that there hasn't been a bit more transfer window activity, to be honest, because with it being like this, you feel like a manager or a director of football might be like, we only need one player to get us over the top, Yeah. And I'm sort of surprised there's not been a bit more activity, to be honest.
January, traditionally, because it is much shorter window, and you've had to focus so much on the Christmas schedule, especially if you don't have things in place like a director of sport or those kind of good back-of-house infrastructure like Man United, it does lend itself to more transfers happening towards the end of the window. Like I know last year, there was obviously when Palace got Batshuayi and it was very late, but they'd only been made aware of that 2 or 3 days before, because of the situation. And then it can very often, you can have the domino kind of transfers of going around. But what club wants to sell their good players midway through a season? That's kind of why. And it does make me wonder what their plans are for the January window, because everyone acknowledges that you're charged a premium because it's mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't score many goals and you need a striker, right, we'll add 10 million onto this guy because you need him. We may not need him, but that's irrelevant. You don't want to sell to rivals. I just wonder if they'll do away with it. Because it used to be before then, you could make signings up until like March or April, couldn't you? Like
right,
most of the way through the season.
I can't even remember what it used to be like. I've been so indoctrinated by Sky Sports and the transfer window and the deadline day.
Of everything. But yeah, there is talk as well of them changing the summer window, because obviously now for us, once the first game starts, that's it. We can't make any transfers, whether domestic or abroad. Yeah. But foreign teams can still buy English players from English clubs. So they're talking at the minute, and apparently they have a meeting next month. Again, this should have been in fucking news. That they will decide and vote, because the original vote to change this, they had a majority. It was 14 clubs they needed to vote for it, and I think 17 did, to say that the transfer window ends here. But a lot of the clubs now are seeing that there's pull from the European clubs that are making it difficult for them. So what they're potentially going to vote for is a hybrid system where you can't buy your other teams from England's players, but you can still buy from abroad for a bit longer. It kind of that then matches the German or the Spanish or wherever's transfer window, but the English window, so you're not kind of poaching off of each other's teams and weakening. So it's quite interesting. I think to change that, they only need 10 or something like that. So they just need a majority ruling. So then I think that would then be the year after that would come in. So
right. Okay. So changes might be afoot. Changes
could be afoot. But yeah, the January window is always just... Everyone looks forward to it, and then you're in it, and you're like, this is always shit.
Yeah.
Because people either don't get to spend the money, or you don't really get the impact, especially for a club like Palace when you've got 1 billion injuries. It's not fun.
Right, shall I take us through some listener stuff, Chuck?
Oh, please.
Yes, please.
We've got none. That's it.
We've got no listeners. We've got no stuff.
No questions.
They were good to us. They knew it was just me and you, so they sent plenty of stuff. So
Just the two of
we've
us.
got. We've got.
We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Sorry.
It's all right. I watched Austin Powers the other day when they.
You and I.
Yeah, I saw him and Mini Me playing that. It's just so many weird little performance moments in them films that are great.
Those films have not aged well.
They haven't, but
I love them.
They were so sort of part of my humour when I was in my sort of early 20s or whatever that I still hold them in a lot of fondness. And I love Heather Graham. I love Heather Graham so much. Dave Mateo asks, tracksuit or suit for a manager?
See, I don't know if you have the same thing as me, but like a manager, like you can view people in that position differently. Like Alex Ferguson, manager. Arsene Wenger, manager. So suit. Whereas someone like Nigel Pearson, I can get with it. Tony Pulis.
They feel like coaches, don't they, rather than managers?
Pikeys.
It's a weird one though, isn't it? Because like I would not countenance wearing a tracksuit in my life now. Like ever.
Even in the gym, you're in a full three-piece.
Exactly.
You've got top hat tails.
Yeah, braces.
strolling along the what's it called, a treadmill with your cane.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
dare you? Yes.
But I think, and that's weird because I'm only 36. Only 36, if you believe it. But
I'll let it go.
If you're a 36-year-old manager, you've probably only recently stopped playing, and I feel like that's the time when you can do the tracksuit
You're a young
thing.
man. You need to change games, mate.
Yeah.
If you become a football manager, everyone will be saying how young you are, not
young,
how old you are.
He's very young, very young thrusting manager. Thrusting. So I feel like you can do that but yeah, you can't be sort of 60-something and still turning up in a tracksuit. I think that's awful business. It's got to be a suit, I think. It's got to be a suit. You've got to command some authority. You can't do that in a fucking Umbro shell suit. I'm not having it.
Or what about the new kind of, the fashionable ones like Eddie Howe and Ralph Hasenhüttl. They wear like these really like skinny tracksuit bottoms. It's very, very strange. They're very form-hugging
leggings type scenario.
Yeah, they are. But I don't mind in general. Like, I didn't really mind Pep's Coatigan and all his Stone Island jackets and whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to have a pop at his fashion sense, really. That's not something that I'm
especially when,
doing.
the opposite is Jurgen Klopp, who I don't think is wearing a single piece of clothing that doesn't have Liverpool FC and the badge on it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's underpants, socks, like...
Yeah, there's definite deference to the New Balance deal there, isn't there?
Oh, hugely.
But at some point you just think, mate, take your fucking baseball cap off, sort it out.
Yeah, stop headbutting people in the showers and just...
No, keep doing that. That's
content.
It's fucking great. Dave asks another one. He says, you get to bring back one England player from history at their peak for this year's Euros. Who do you choose to bring back?
I mean, well, judging by the fact that we could be without Kane and Rashford.
You're going to go for a striker.
Who scores goals? Jeff Hurst, I guess.
Lineker, Rooney.
Lineker.
It'd get offside a lot. It'd get offside a lot with VAR, I think.
I think either a goal scorer or Gaza.
Yeah.
Could be good to have that maverick kind of... can just create something out of absolute nothing in
at
there.
At his peak, that's quite something,
Dentist chairing the fuck out of everything.
Yeah, that's his peak for you, is it? The dentist chair, specifically.
I mean, some people will talk about the goal that precedes it being one of the greatest England goals ever, especially as it was against Scotland.
It is a fucking great goal, but... But you're more about the celebration, I understand.
We just need goals. Shearer?
Shearer, that's a shout,
Could still do a job, I reckon.
Gordon Banks. I mean, we haven't had a good keeper since Shilton, probably. Like a really good keeper, because Seaman had a rick in him, definitely.
Seaman had a rick. Who else? We had Rob Green, Tim Flowers,
Joe Hart.
Oh, yeah.
David James, Jesus.
God. Paul Robinson.
Might be nice to have a decent keeper for a bit.
Oh, he had some, yeah. Now Jordan Pickford.
He was a hero a couple of years ago, but I mean, he's shown that he's definitely got some odd decision making in him.
Oh, God, yeah. The one against Liverpool with Origi and, oh, God. Loves to scream at people when it was him at fault. So you're going for goalkeeper and I'm going for goals. So we're all right.
We've got it covered. We're fine.
We're keeping clean sheets and we're scoring.
Good.
Happy days.
Yeah. This feels like it might be more one for you. I'm not sure because I wasn't really a boot man. But Sam Danby asked, "What's the best football boot ever?"
I've never really got into football boots.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm the same. Maybe we'll have to gloss over this one then because I didn't really care.
No. I mean, I liked certain ones. Like I had Adidas F50s, and they were like these kind of plasticky things, but you could customize like the shells. And so you could get like different shells, insoles. They had 3 different types of studs. All right,
super customizable then.
Yeah, so I had a few. And then it was, what World Cup would that have been? 2010? No, it would have been 2006 World Cup, I think. And they did them for every national team that was sponsored by Adidas. You could get your own customized ones. So I had England ones, and because they look cool, for Dave Matteo, I had Australian ones as well. Huh. And there was a kangaroo on there. There were 2 boomerangs on the back, of bright yellow. But I didn't actually play football in my formative years, so that's why I used to wear them for rugby.
You're a rugby man, of course.
They weren't very good rugby boots.
Like when I was a kid, the Predators came out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right? And the marketing campaign and everything was fucking insane.
Huge.
And like everyone wanted them. But I remember them being 3 figures back then. They were fucking expensive.
They aren't quite as much now, but you have so many different types of boot for everything that it's so hard trying to gauge what the actual cost is going to be. Yeah. Like, you've got some that are just for like basic indoor 5-a-side, then outdoor 5-a-side, then if it's 3G or like that sandpaper shit or blades or moulded or plastic studs. It's like, fucking hell. And they I sound like such an old man now. Like they change so often. They release I swear they release 3 different volumes of them each year. Like just go back to the classic. The ones was it Ronaldinho wore in? They were the Nike ones, and they were white and had a gold tick.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they were called, but it was one of those famous adverts where he then starts doing the keepy uppies and then does like multiple hits against the crossbar. Those, I always wanted those boots. Yeah. Never got them.
There you go. Maybe, I mean, Sam's a football coach, so I think he's far more educated than us on such things.
Oh, is he?
But, yeah, he coaches over in, where is he, Norway?
Norway. Why don't you get over there, mate? I told you, that's your in. So you can be a thrusting young buck. Oh,
of course. Sorry, yeah, I'm a manager now. I forgot.
Yes, you are a manager. Make sure you take your suit with you.
God, I've been heading a lot of balls. I've got dementia. I totally forgot. I'm a manager now, yeah.
Does it also wear out your hairline, heading balls? Or
yeah, fuck it, yeah. I did it on either side. Just got the
widows... glancing hits.
Exactly. Just glancing them on someone else. Yeah.
Getting that knockdown.
Never scored a header. Yeah.
Never scored, no.
Okay. I should actually mention all of these questions have come from patrons on the Slack. So you can go to patreon.com/milesoffsidepod, donate to us. You get on the Slack, you get extra FPL pods, you get all sorts of stuff. There's Oscar runs a fan tracks fantasy football draft league for patrons, which you'll be in for next season. All sorts. So get on it.
Yeah, and some of our patrons aren't on there at the minute, so get involved. There's some lovely chats going on down there. Many things.
Indeed. And Mark Daffin, one of our newer Patreons, he says, simple one, what is your favourite ever goal?
Well, first of all, Mark is probably the worst fantasy football player and has cursed all of the players that I had in my team.
He wildcarded this week and got in a team similar to yours, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I got 27 points. We'll go into it. Favourite ever goal? I was even thinking about this earlier and got just so many. And the problem is I've been there for so many good ones that I was on the receiving end of.
Oh, yeah. I hate that when you see a amazing worldie from the opposition. You just have to go... Yeah, it's a good goal, isn't it? Fuck me. So I fucking hate that feeling.
That fucking Giroud scorpion
Were you
kick.
there for that?
Yes, I was front and centre for it. I could see that it was one of those goals, and it kind of comes across on TV, but they'd been playing the ball from like the centre with, I think it was Sanchez coming round and just bypassing Joel Ward. They'd been playing that ball all game. And so you're just like, this is the ball they're going to play. And so you could just see it coming. And the fact that you could just see that, and you're like, right, now he's going to cross it to Giroud. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. Yeah, you didn't see that bit coming.
Yeah. I mean, you've already mentioned one, the Gaza against Scotland.
Yeah, Gaza against Scotland, that was pretty bloody good. One of I remember Michael Owen against Argentina.
Yes.
In the World Cup 98. That's kind of right on the cusp of when I can remember football properly.
98, right, okay.
Like the 98 World Cup, that's kind of my first World Cup.
Yeah.
Especially because I was really into football then. So that Michael Owen goal, and obviously he was so young. He was, 17 at the time? 17 and got taken to there and looked, especially the shirts back then.
Yeah.
Because they weren't like these form-fitting shirts. It just looked like he'd borrowed one.
Looked like he's wearing a flag. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just went on that mazy run, and our house went mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental when that goal went in. So there's that. And then club-wise, it's got to be Wilfried Zaha against Brighton. Playoff semi-final, second leg.
Oh, wow.
He'd already banged one, and it just... the commentary, the fact that he did it right in front of the Palace fans, the fact that it was at Brighton. No.
It's interesting you mentioned like 98 and it being sort of then that you really got into football, because mine, and I just have a lovely memory of watching it and just going, fuck me, that was amazing. It was 1999 Man U against Arsenal FA Cup semi-final. I think it's a replay. And Ryan Giggs' goal where he does 5 Arsenal players, like manages to sort of wrong foot practically each one of them and sort of get it round the back of them. It was an unbelievable run.
He ran from deep within their own half, didn't he?
Within his own half, yeah, but he didn't. I don't think he had to beat anyone until he crossed halfway line. But yeah, still, then just beats 5 players as if they're barely there, ties them up in knots, and smacks it in. And
takes
then
his shirt off.
Takes his shirt off and looks like he's wearing another shirt.
Yeah, as hairy as Oscar is, underneath his many layers.
Exactly, yeah. Had one of his nighttime layers on.
Yeah, and then goes and shags his brother's sister. Brother's wife. Sorry.
Shags his brother's sister. Yeah, so would also be his sister.
Wales.
Yeah, who knows? It happens. Lonely nights on the farm.
It happens.
But it's just such a great goal, and I just remember. So 1999, I was 15, and I was consuming a lot of football like you could self, and it was just that was a great goal, and I fancied myself as a Giggsy type player. I wasn't very good.
You were just hairy.
Yeah, I was just hairy even back then. Very very astute gentleman. Yeah, that was a great goal. I don't know why that one always sticks in my mind, because I always liked Giggs as a player. So that one
has been replayed a lot, and I think that's fair. Like Ryan Giggs as a player, mate, not so much as a manager, but
no, apparently not. No,
as a player. I mean, what did he play? Like 700 and something games for Man United.
Oh yeah, it was insane, wasn't it? Yeah,
fair play to you, mate. Give it Giggsy.
Yeah. So, if you want to get in touch to ask us questions or anything like that, we are on Twitter at Miles Offside Pod. We're on Facebook, and you can email us as well. We used to have a thing where we tried to encourage people to email us embarrassing stories that we could then read out and recount some of ours. That only really brought us the one
Plains.
Classic Emu Plains email that's in the best of from a few episodes back. But it's milesoffsidepod@gmail.com if you want to send us anything a bit lengthier. Oh,
yeah.
If you know
or
what
just
I mean.
come round my house. I mean, we could, because next week, of course, before we go into FPL, I'm really putting it off as long as possible.
Yeah.
Really am. Next weekend is FA Cup. So we'll be recording when the FA Cup's going on. So we'll kind of focus on it a little bit. But we'll also want to have some content from you. So I don't know, maybe we'll share some embarrassing stories again, and I'll try and think of some, maybe not involving me shitting myself. Shout out as well. This is a funny one, which has made me remember from the FA Cup chat, is that Watford had to play Tranmere, and the game got postponed last week. I think because of all like the storms and stuff that happened here or something. Right. Can't remember. Basically, all the groundsmen fucked up, whatever. So the game had to be postponed to this week, but the third round replay is then 3 days before the fourth round starts, and Watford already started selling tickets for it.
Oh, so yes, I did hear about that. Yeah.
Presumptuous of them. So Tranmere, do some magic.
Yeah, I suppose they've got to start selling tickets, but yeah, that's not a good look, is it?
They are going to look like stupid ostriches.
Great Pearson reference. I think we've got to do FPL now.
Oh, I don't think we do.
We don't have to touch too much on your own personal performance, Chuck. We just need to mention it.
You're such a prick.
Am I?
Yeah, and it's fine. It's fair. Shall we start with the pod team? The pod team that I absolutely hate. That is total shit. 60 points.
I think it's 64 now.
Well, we took a -4.
Oh, we took. Apologies. We took. Of course. Oh, yeah. Of course we did.
To get in Williams, who was third on the bench.
We took a hit. Yeah.
Who else did we get in?
We transferred out Dominic Calvert-Lewin for Ings.
Oh, Ings, yeah. That didn't work,
So we are definitely down on that deal. I think, to be fair, in retrospect, we did need to get Ings just as protection, if nothing else.
I think so, but I just think there were better things we could have done, especially taking a points hit and not getting in a terrible Man United defender. I don't care what anyone says, and all these stupid people on Twitter trying to rank him over Trent Alexander-Arnold and Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Is that
fucking
happening?
Stupid.
That's outrageous.
You're fucking stupid, yes. And I don't know whether it's just those people that do it deliberately to get reactions out of people or say, like, don't at me. Like, no, he's not. He's played like 3 games. No.
So I'm in agreement. That's a no. But anyway, the pod team did well though. So Pope, Alexander-Arnold, Traore, Jimenez.
Yeah, so kind of the double-edged sword, because we had Pope, but we had Vardy. So it's like,
yeah,
what does he get for the? What did he get? How many points does he get for the penalty save?
I don't know. Is it 3 for a penalty save? No, it's 5.
5? Okay, so that worked out then.
That's all right, yeah. And also, Pope's less owned and played than Vardy would have been, so it works for us that he goes instead of Vardy. Yes. It was tasty. Indeed. Tasty 64 points. Bit of a resurgence for the pod team. So anyway, we've got to suggest and get the poll out probably before the episode goes out, obviously, of what we're going to do transfer-wise.
Yeah, because the next game week starts obviously Tuesday and we record Sunday, so by now, I mean, unless Ian does a madness,
time travel again.
Yeah, the poll will be done. So
yeah,
we kind of have to do a one-day wonder here.
Okay, so let's just bang out our suggestions then.
Okay, so did fucking Sir Hits-a-Lot make a suggestion?
He did, and it's a hit, obviously. So he has suggested Aurier and Maddison out, Robertson and Snodgrass in.
Okay. So 4-point hit, get rid of Aurier, who they're playing against Norwich.
It's a money maker, I think, to be able to afford. I don't think, without getting rid of the only other expensive defender we've got, we wouldn't be able to afford Robertson. So, yeah, and that's bringing in 2 double game weekers, so...
Okay, that's fair. So an extra 2 fixtures.
Yeah.
Fair. What about you, Ian?
So I'm going to suggest something that's fairly similar to what I'm doing in my own team, actually, but...
Okay.
KDB and I don't like it, although he's blanked twice, so maybe I shouldn't worry. But KDB out and Maddison out to get Salah in, and then Fleck, who we talked about earlier, has been getting on the end of a lot of stuff lately. Probably be on the bench most weeks, but it's nice to have someone on the bench who you can rely on if you need him.
Okay, fair enough. And then mine, I'm still in 2 minds about what to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't know whether to take a points hit or not, but obviously you want to get...
Got to get a third Liverpool player in.
And the problem is with Vardy, obviously, like, he's on terrible... After, this injury, his child, those kind of things and missed penalties on terrible form. I think they said, I saw something earlier where it's like he hasn't had a shot on target since like Boxing Day.
Yeah, that was true. Yeah, he's not been in great nick.
But
yeah,
he just absolutely feels like no matter what happens, when we get rid of Vardy, he will bang the next week.
Of course he will. Yep.
And so I don't feel like dropping him against West Ham is a good thing.
But it's
And
clearly
with
on your
Chelsea,
mind.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to go to the back and something that probably won't go for. But it kind of leads into what we were saying before, that Liverpool now seem to be shutting up shop more and playing a bit more defensive and just going for clean sheets. So Jetto Willems is looking like he is out.
Yes.
Gone for ages. So
Yes.
I'm going to suggest, and we have the exact money in the bank, Jetto Willems to Joe Gomez.
Wow, okay.
Now, a lot of people aren't going to like that because obviously you want the more premium, etc., etc. And yes, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson all have that positive attacking potential, but he's been playing 90 minutes every time.
Yeah.
Looks good. And we get the double game week in. Don't do anything too mental.
Yeah.
And it fixes a problem that I don't like. So
Yeah.
And also I'm throwing in there that my suggestion is also to triple captain Mane this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we need to run a poll on who we triple captain, depending on who we get in, obviously, because if we end up doing your suggestion there, then I'm fully behind that. Just triple captain Mane, it's obvious.
Yeah.
So it very much depends.
Well, I suppose then the debate could be: do you triple captain Mane or do you triple captain Alexander-Arnold?
Yeah, it could with the defence. I suppose actually that is probably worth doing a poll for. Actually, to be honest, because I mean, defenders traditionally do quite well on double game week, so it's often someone like that who comes through, and especially Liverpool's form at the minute. I mean, Gomez might be your suggestion there might be a cheap way to bank a couple of clean sheets in a week. So. Yeah, okay. We'll have to bang the poll out as quick as possible then, and do a bit of a flash poll on a couple of things.
So sorry, you guys listening to this, it will already be over. So make sure you kept an eye on social media, I guess.
There'll be other things on our Twitters. There always is. You've been doing a stand-up job taking the piss out of Peterborough. It's been lovely.
You're welcome. Well, I think we did that pretty well, Mr. Simpson, don't you?
That was all right. Yeah.
I don't think we need him. XG. Oh, beat bop stats robot. Oh, I've got a lightsaber. Oh,
Talked
America.
about things that actually happened rather than imaginary numbers.
Yeah. Oh, let's get Christian Pulisic in our FPL team.
All because Oscar's off on a competitive eating ice cream competition for lactose intolerant colourblind people.
True story, and we wish him all the best when he tries to vanquish Joey Chestnut in a chestnut eating competition. Thanks again, Ian. It's always good to talk to you, mate.
And you.
Thank you very much for listening, guys. Best of luck, I guess, in FPL, and take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.